Hello. Hi. Lately, it has come to my attention that popular dating app Tinder made some merch, or rather, they didn't make their own merch, but they outsourced to a company to make some merch for them. And I found this merch kind of disappointing. It's very kind of blasé, ASOS adjacent, hype beast. It's fine, but it's not me. So I figured, why not make it mine? You know, with my own two hands. Stick 'em up, Tinder. Yeah, so that is exactly what we're going to do. So I made 3 shirt designs, and I also made another design that was kind of like a cast off one, but let's throw it back in. It can be a tote bag, it could be a hat. It could be anything, and they're all they're very me, and they're very like kind of vintagey. I wanted them to look kind of old. That kind of like fake retro-y vibe is what I wanted to capture. I thought it would be fun because just like me, Tinder did not exist in 1984. But let's have a shirt that says it did. So yeah, that's kind of the deal. Let's get started. Also, I'm gonna be telling you about first date mistakes. Ugh, right? Tinder is the app for first dates. We all have been there, right? And there are so many ways to mess it up. And that's why I'm here to hopefully give you some tips, some pointers on first dates and, you know, the kind of mistakes that you would be silly to make. So I'm very excited for that, and I hope you are too. Anyway, let's get started. Okay, so we are off to the Tinder races for this first shirt. The year I'm aiming for is 1984. No particular reason. A lot of times when I'm picking numbers and I can choose them, I just choose numbers I think look good together. And I thought these look good together. Same thing. Why August? I don't know. This is a Swipe Night shirt. Swipe Night was an event Tinder did where everyone watched a movie and you got to make choices like Bandersnatch, and then it said what you picked. I think a clever idea that faltered a little in execution. The movie that they had was a little boring for me. I think it would be much more interesting if the movie was like a Mulholland Drive type. Really what they should have done is have everyone watch Mulholland Drive, and then the questions are like, did you enjoy the film? On a scale of 1 to 3, how well do you feel that you understood the film? Questions like this. Now that is gonna separate the chaff from the wheat in terms of my dating experience. Also, you might not have guessed this, but I date men, and the dating pool is a lot smaller for me. So these choices made very little difference on whom I'm selecting to go on a Swipe Night date with. Definitely not the worst event overall, but really Tinder, I would like to see something a little more exciting. So anytime we could get on that, the better. What I'm doing here is I like the type effect of like a drop shadow, and I wanted something that felt even a little more 3-dimensional. So I'm just messing around with the bevel emboss tool in Illustrator, which I don't understand at all. Every time I do it, I'm just messing around trying to find something I like. And keep in mind, this is sped up like 7 times faster than it is in real life. So I really did take a long time doing this. Eventually, I got something that was pretty good, and I just beat it into submission, and we're gonna jump into Photoshop in a second, just because with something like this where it's like a million shapes, I don't have time to try and make it pretty in Illustrator, so let's just, you know, yank it over into Photoshop and work it out there. I think this is a good time to start on my list of first date mistakes. I know you're all on the edge of your seats. You're very excited to hear what I think a big mistake could be for your first date. So at the top of the list, I have saying name wrong. Oh my gosh, saying name wrong. That is a big blunder. Don't do that. It is so important to make sure you know what your date's name is. If you have to practice beforehand, maybe do that. But really, like, let's get it right on the first try. Am I right, people? Listen, if you think that saying their name wrong is bad, wait until you hear this. Eating something messy. Oh my gosh, a first date, you go out for dinner, don't order, the ribs. Don't order spaghetti if you're wearing a white shirt, or a big bowl of gumbo maybe that you have to eat with your hands, something like that. Don't do any of that. Oh my gosh, you'll get it all over yourself, you little pig, and you'll look ridiculous. You want to eat something that you can look cute eating. Salad's great for this, but you don't even need to go that way. You could eat a nice little cut of meat. There are so many options for beautifully edible food. So don't be a dummy. Get something that is nice. What we're doing now is just some good old-fashioned multiply layer, blending mode layers. I've got it separated out onto 2 layers. I threw in those little fire Tinder logos just to really tie in that we're talking about the dating app here. And what you're gonna see now is a long montage of me trying to get that 80s brush script look right. Spoiler alert, I can't do it. I probably spent about an hour, a big chunk of this is cut out, attempting to do it with my Cintiq. That's why the resolution changed. And long story short, I just did it in my sketchbook and scanned it in, and that is the way to do it. In fact, here's my dirty secret. I didn't even scan it. I just took a picture with my phone, and it still looked loads better than trying to do it digitally. So it just goes to show crime doesn't pay, and neither does doing everything digitally. Sometimes you just gotta do it by hand, people. How about this for a first date blunder? Admitting you're a vampire. Yeah. If you're a spooky little creature of the night, it might be the best idea to save that topic for, date number 2 or 3. I think admitting you're a vampire on the first date, it comes off a little strong, it's a little presumptuous, and it's a little creepy. There are a lot of people, who might feel off-put by the fact that you just want to suck their blood. So, maybe leave that one at home for a while. If you are a vampire, I have a bunch of other tips for you, like don't go to an Italian restaurant. Garlic, garlic, garlic. Avoid churches or any kind of Christian family restaurant that might hang a crucifix on the wall. These are all bad ideas. I will say, here's my caveat. If you're dating someone who has an alternative sort of vibe, gothy look, emo look, actually coming on strong as a vampire might be a good idea. You might just woo them over. So, like anything, it's the exception that proves the rule. You kind of gotta play it by ear. And with your big bat-like ears, I'm sure you'll have no problem with that. All right, we are just about wrapping this one up. I'm just doing some final tweaks. I always do this when I scan in writing, a little bit of editing. Usually when I scan in a piece of writing, or when I do the actual writing rather, I like to do a lot of alternate letters, and then I kind of piece it together. So for this one, you can see that I have like 5 different strokes at the bottom, and that's to do stuff like this where maybe one looks better than the other, blah, blah, blah. It can be a bit of a pain to cut out the writing nicely, but for this use, it actually worked out to the benefit because I like it a little chunky. All right, so we're moving on to shirt number 2, and this one was a real pain. I had a great idea for shirt 1, great idea for shirt 3, shirt 2, a little looser. That's always how it is, and that's always the one that takes forever. But the one thing I did know is that I wanted to have it on a black t-shirt since the other 2 were on white t-shirts. So this one kind of goes all over the place. And in this section, I think I don't even finish it. I think we're gonna move on to shirt 3 and then come back. But yeah, I'm just kind of going through Bookmania, which is one of my favorite typefaces, and messing around with all the swashes, trying to make something work. It doesn't work. That's just how it is, you know? Sometimes you gotta try things out, see how you like it. All right, time for my next tip. It's ordering something too extravagant. If you're eating out on the other person's dime, maybe you're lucky enough to be in that situation, don't order something crazy. It's gauche, it's embarrassing, you know, stay away from that lobster thermidor, that baked Alaska. Order something more in a conventional price range. Don't automatically shoot for the highest dollar sign just because you're not paying for it. It's not a good look. You can do that later in the relationship, but on the first date, you know, you need to come off in a good light. The pro tip, obviously, is to see what the other person is getting and then order within that sort of range. You can never go wrong. In my opinion, I think you should just split the bill. You know, for a first date, it's 2021 or whatever year it is when you're listening. And so you really can't go wrong by just splitting it down the middle, unless, you know, one of you makes a ton more than the other. Like if you're, say, a struggling graphic designer / 2D artist and you're dating someone who's an investment banker or a nuclear engineer, anything like that, maybe an aged vampire count with countless riches in the crypt under his home, okay, you can foot the bill, you know? And I'll stay away from the garlic. Am I right, folks? All right, at this part of the video, I did this sort of Wild West adjacent thing. I thought maybe this was gonna be the shirt, and then I was like, oh no, I hate this, this can't be it. Well, I came back to it later, as we all do, and I was like, this isn't half bad. So I think this is gonna be like our little tote bag design. Mainly because I just like the verbiage of find me on Tinder, I think. I don't know, it's just kind of fun. It's a fun, I don't know, I like it. Anyway, you're gonna see me put a little warp on it. You know, I love a warp, and then discard it to move on to the real final design, which is better anyway. It's more of like a very late 90s kind of vibe, I would say, which rounds out our decades nicely. So that's where we're headed. Here's a tip for you. Don't do this, pretending you left your wallet at home. I know we just had a tip about trying to skip out on the bill. Here's another good one. It's a classic con, pretending you left your wallet at home. You know, I just think not a great way to start off a relationship. However, as with anything, here's my counterexample. If they try to pull like an expensive con on you, like you offer to pay, they're ordering lobster thermidor, then pull this trick. You can't go wrong. Another one kind of like this, if you, like me, want to avoid confrontation even more than that, just say you're going to the bathroom and sneak out the back door. Not a nice thing to do to someone, but, you know, the situation calls for it, and won't it be a good story for your friends? Now, I don't know about you, But I sometimes go down a little YouTube rabbit hole. I find a channel and I'll just binge their videos. I'm obsessed for maybe a week, and then suddenly the obsession is gone. I couldn't care less. Well, for me right now, it is Disney World food blog videos. There's a very famous YouTube channel that does this called, I think, Disney Food Blogs. It's very on the nose, but I'm obsessed. I've been listening to it, and now recording myself talking, I realize I'm imitating the host AJ's vocal stylings. She has a great kind of like half funny, half announcer voice that I find very professional and charming at the same time. I love it. I lived in LA during high school. My parents still live there, and we went to Disneyland fairly often. I'm outing myself here, which I realize not a good look, but I love a themed area. I love casinos. I love like medieval times, a rainforest cafe, anything like that. Like, I want to be in a themed environment, and one of the few really good ones is Disneyland, so I'll just out myself for that. But I'm obsessed with these Disney World videos. I don't even really want to go. Florida is a little moist for me, but it's just huge. There's so much going on there. It's crazy. There's something about it that is addictive. And the videos, oh my gosh, a ranked list video, it's addictive. It is the poor man's heroin, as they say. And I am hooked, baby. I'm slapping my arm, I'm tying it off to shoot up a little DFB. All right, we're just about wrapping this one up. What I'm doing now is just copying Tinder's little charm shapes, which are gonna live underneath. I think they're fun and I like the colors, and I wanted something that felt distinctively Tindery without being too on the nose. And I thought these little charms were perfect for that. So they're gonna live underneath. Yeah, I don't know. This one took the longest. It took me forever. I didn't like it the whole time. And then finally at the end, I found something I liked. And, what more can you ask for? That's just how it goes. I find anytime I do designs, it's like I have two crystal clear ones, and then I have one that is really hard. If you go to design school, your teachers will say, like, keep iterating, it's that 99th idea that's the best. I don't find that to be true. I find my first idea is the best, and then, it's a crapshoot from there. But I do think this one turned out fun, maybe. I don't know. I think it is the most wearable by a normal person. Woohoo! It's watercolor time. It is sped up watercolor time. Look at me just whiplash through these freaking watercolor circles. It's incredible. I'm going breakneck speed, and that's because I cut out all the boring parts. I had this idea for a shirt right away. It just came to me of like all these little watercolor heads, and it would say underneath like Tinder, someone for everyone. Just came to me, stuck with it the whole time, and it's my favorite, Sometimes you just luck out. So I'm just burning through these little watercolor circles, which was actually fun. I hope you like my Italian style tablecloth and the legs of my tripod. I need a way to hide those, and I don't have them. You can also see my phone off to the left and me frequently switching through Donna Summer songs, and you can tell just how sped up this video is by how frequently I'm doing it. I started off with a little DS, which is what I call Donna Summer, and then I moved over to good old-fashioned podcasting. You love it. what I'm looking through right now is this wonderful Instagram account called Earth's World, where this photographer named Earth posts pictures of people she took at the Oregon State Fair through like decades. There's ones from 2007 on up. And it gave me some great inspiration for just drawing fun little faces. Everyone she posts is great. And that is when my phone died. You know, so classic to have your phone die in the middle of a video. Yeah, I used a blue grease pencil to do all the faces except for the blue because it didn't show up. And I just used good old fashioned red colored pencil for those. Now all we're doing is throwing it in. I've got a kind of gray paper texture to simulate what it'll look like on the t-shirt just for myself. Put the faces in, I just masked them out just like with an eraser essentially. It wasn't interesting to watch. And now I'm just picking out the typeface I'm gonna use for the shirt. And the one I ended up using is by a friend of mine and a peer in school, the beautiful Emily Claby. This is her font, Mrs. Fletcher, which I think you can find on our website or somewhere. I don't know. If I remember, I'll link it. If not, you can comment, where can I get that font? And then I will definitely put it up, because that's what makes me do things, little public comment. Remember, you can comment below if you like the video. Comment below if you have some dating tips of your own. Speaking of, here's my last dating no-no, and it's a big one. Bringing a friend. Oh my gosh. I know, it's intimidating to go on a first date. It's scary. What if you don't like them? You know, what if they look different than their pictures? What if they have a terrible voice? Oh my gosh, that's a huge one. And there's no way to check for that on Tinder. You never know what the person's voice could be like. And for me, it is hugely important they have a good voice. But bringing a friend is always a no-no. It's gonna stress them out. It's gonna stress your friend out. No one likes being a third wheel. And it is a little amateur, so don't do that. Big mistake. And that about does it. Thank you very much for watching, especially if you watched all the way to the end. If you like this video, you can like it. If you loved this video, you can subscribe. And I know I loved making it. And yeah, I think I'm definitely planning on being a little more regular with everything going on. I find that I like to psych myself out. And I always think that like, oh, making a video is such a pain. And then I do it and I'm like, it's really not that bad. And every time I do it, I get better and faster. That's called having a growth mindset. And it is so important. So yeah, wishing you all the best, and hopefully I'll see you this time next week. Okay, bye. Bye. Bye.